the adversity that you guys have gone through this year, it's something you can lean on as you move into the playoffs. Is that something that, you'll emphasize with your team over the next couple of weeks as the games obviously get harder?
Yeah, there's a lot of lessons you learn through the course of the season that you try and use and apply later in the year. And I think we've done that to this point. We've got to continue to do that. Certainly, the game tonight was tough, and they're going to be tough. And so you've got to continue to grow, continue to learn, and apply those lessons every week.
Sean, what does it mean to you to see the DBs come out here, not only all together, but then they bring Trey's jersey out here as well?
Yeah, I heard Derek told me about that in my locker room. I think that just really personifies our team. They're together in every way, shape, and form. And when they lose a guy like that, or anyone for that matter, whether it's Zim, Ike, those three guys that good football players, good human beings. We miss those guys, and they're right here with us in the locker room, and they're a big part of this.
Sean, maybe along those lines, you said earlier in the season, every team has a different story. They aren't necessarily connected year to year. And this story is far from finished in terms of how it's going. But what's different about this team this year in your mind so far?
I think every team is different, really, Adam. To be specific would be hard. I think that the journey is different, and that's what characterizes every team because they have their own journey. And, last year's team took on a certain identity because of the journey they had, and then this year's team is taking on a different identity because of the journey that we've been on this year. And so I think that's the exciting part, that's the challenging part, but it also makes it worthwhile.
What do you think has changed with the production your defensive front has been able to manufacture probably this last 3 or 4 weeks now? Because I know you were asking more of them mid-season. Now they're giving it to you. What has changed there?
Yeah, I think overall, Chris, they're playing faster. So, you have some young players mixed in there, and then you've got some older guys with Jerry and Mario, and that blend, has come together at the right time, and I think they're playing fast.
When you look back on Tre'Davious' injury, can you give us an overview of the transition that your secondary made of moving on without him, and then how they evolved?
I go to the leadership, Leslie's leadership, John Butler and Bobby Babich, Jimmy Salgado, the coaches at that position specifically, and then the leadership amongst the player group with Micah and Jordan really leading that. And, I didn't expect anything different than that, to be honest with you. So that's where we're at.
We all know about the 24-hour rule. How important is it for you guys to really just appreciate what it is that you've managed to accomplish here before setting your sights on next week?
Yeah, it's you got to do that. You got to take a minute or a moment tonight to appreciate, because it's hard to do. Make the playoffs, win the division, but extremely grateful. To God be the glory, and I'm just a part of it, and I'm extremely grateful to be a part of it.
Like I mentioned, the conditions out there, windy once again. We're getting into it. You never know what it's going to be at home. You get at least one home playoff game here. Do you guys feel like you have a home field advantage in here, especially when the elements are as bad as they've been at times?
Yeah, the game. Listen, to play here, it wasn't even packed out there, but you could feel the crowd. Playing at home, playing in Western New York, especially late in the year. It's been a long time since these fans, because of the situation last year, since the fans have been able to watch a home playoff game in full capacity. So, we love playing in front of our fans. It's a special place to play. To me, the best place in the NFL, and we look forward to next weekend.
We had told you before the start of last season, 2020 season, that your team would have gone 11-1 against the AFC East. What would you have said to us?
Hard to do. Those are good football teams, well coached, and I think Brandon Beane has put together a good team for us, and I'm appreciative of that. And that's one of the goals when we set out early in the year is to win the division, play well at home, and so to be able to do that in that regard, in that way, pretty convincing. But it's hard every year in the division in particular.
During that stretch when the offense was having trouble sustaining drives, what do you think was leading to that, and how do you fix it going into the postseason?
Yeah, I thought Coach Dable and the offense really did a nice job working their way through it. It's not always going to be smooth sailing, especially when you play a team more than once. And so we got off to a really good start, and then we stalled out a little bit, and I was really impressed by how they worked through it.
At one point, Josh had thrown 7 straight incomplete passes. Did you get the sense at all that he was pressing at any point and maybe trying to do a little too much?
I just think that he was, just going through his progression, and I thought that was good. And he's going to have some of those throws. He's human. But I love the way how he got back on it, made some huge plays for us. And again, I thought Coach Dable did a nice job of helping him find the way through that, especially not just Josh, but the whole offense. I thought the offensive staff did a great job.
And how much does it help when you have Devin? And the running game kind of established itself already if Josh gets off kilter a little, that you can kind of lean on that.
Yeah, that's what you need. That's why it's important to be two-dimensional and or the threat of 2 dimensions on offense, running, passing.
What's your overview on your punting unit tonight?
I'll tell you what, I know Matt struggled early. There's no sugarcoating that, but I love the way how he fought back, fought through it, and that's hard to do in front of X amount of people, and you're having an off night. But I really appreciate the way he pushed through it for the team.
How much of it was weather-related versus maybe just a bad day?
I just think he had a bad day combined with the wind, and sometimes that gets in your head a little bit, and so we had an X number of punts between the second and third quarter that were into the wind, which is a challenge, but I love the way he got back on it.
To that, what went into the decision to keep Micah out there to return punts and not have Isaiah come back out?
Yeah, I thought it was the right decision for the team. You guys saw the wind. It was tough out there, and still have full confidence in Isaiah. I just felt like it was the right thing, and I thought Micah did a good job in there.
Your second consecutive AFC East title, and to do so, you mentioned, or you talking about Devin a couple of seconds ago, to do so and find so much success with so many young draft picks contributing and really starting to find their way in recent weeks in this season. How exciting and a time is this for the franchise, and what does that say about the state of the franchise, not only this season, but moving into the future with so many young, homegrown players contributing the way they have this season?
Yeah, that's what this time of year, you're counting on those players, the young players that are developing all the way through the season. And sometimes that means bringing a player off a practice squad to do that, and that's where that depth is so important, but also that youth that they're always growing, always developing. The coaches do a phenomenal job of staying committed to those young players, even though some of those young players aren't necessarily the starter early in the season. And now you're seeing some of the fruits of that labor.
Sean, you obviously take pride in everything your team does, but you are here because of coaching defense. When you see what your team has done on that side, what's it mean to you personally, and Leslie and all the coaches and everybody, number one, kind of across the board, dominating performance tonight?
Yeah, that was a dominating performance. You're right, Mike. Super proud of those guys. Let me just make sure I'm clear here. Leslie Frazier runs the defense, and I want to give credit where credit's due. This is not Sean McDermott's defense. It is Leslie's defense, and the coaches, those defensive coaches, have done a phenomenal job. The players, so it was an outstanding performance tonight. There'll be bigger challenges ahead for us on defense.